I would like to talk about a roadmap. One of the things we offer in the 3-day workshop, Ignite Power, is you will walk away with your vision created. Secondly, you'll have your core values and you'll do some work on the goal line and soul line. The goal line is what Keisha talked about, left hemisphere, linear thinking. What are we going to do? When are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? The soul line is, what am I going to do to nurture this spirit within me? How am I going to take care of my mind, my body, my health, my nutrition, my sleep, my focus? How am I going to continue to put my own oxygen mask on? What am I going to do to take care of myself? So there's the goal line, where am I going? And then the soul line, how do I keep myself tuned in and turned on and tuned up all the time? So I want to talk about some of the rituals that you do, Keisha, or that I do. What do you do to keep yourself in the game that you invented in the first place? And so that game, if you're wondering, what does she mean, the game? Keisha's game in life is being a leadership development coach, empowering women, empowering organizations to not only accept diversity, equity, and inclusion, but to live that way. How do you keep yourself from getting discouraged, even in the business development process? What are some structures you put in place to keep yourself on track?
Yeah, it's we talked about some of the visualizations and the meditation, and I talked about self-care. All that applies here. Even equally as important is the community that I'm surrounded in. It's other people that are in similar spaces that are actually out there crushing it, as they would say, actually out there doing the work of women's leadership or diversity, equity, or inclusion, or just leadership in general. And people that operate by a high level of standards, so that I'm not tempted to settle. Because, that statement, I love you said about the show me the people, 5 closest to you, you show you your level of success that you will have. And so I'm very, very particular and very decisive and intentional about the community of people that I surround myself with, people that have the same level of integrity, values, they want to contribute as well, and they are all in, not halfway in or one step in, but they're all into in the space. And this is why I surround myself with people like you, Maji. It's all in.
It's contagious. All in. Can you talk a little bit about the 7 levels and the power of the all in, the engagement? Because that's just given that you do the neuroscience and I do the neuroscience, this all in is something we can talk about. But what's the being of being all in, being fully engaged?
I love the question about the being, because before you do anything, and we're a world that we like to do things, right? You have to first be, right? And what most people, and this is the work of transformation, they're not comfortable with what I call less resourceful and below the line energy. And so the 7 levels of energy that we're talking about is really 7 levels of transformation, 7 levels of organizational and personal transformation. And I'm not going to go through all the levels. What is important to know is that there are below the line energies, and then there are above the line energies. Below the line are the less resourceful. And when we talk about work in leadership, oh my God, even the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion from a gender standpoint, which is what I focus on, as well as from a race standpoint, it's so politicized. It's so below the line in this country, in the US where we live. There's a lot of the less resourceful energies are like frustration, anger, fear, hopelessness.
You mean everything that happened in the last presidential administration and with the pandemic?
Everything, right? And I have been there. I'm not gonna lie. There have been days, and there are gonna be days that I'm gonna go into frustration and fear and hopelessness about all these issues, right? And it's important, and this is what I love about the levels of energy, is acknowledging those below the lines and less resourceful, not making them bad, but allowing ourselves to feel, okay, so give me a minute to give a practical example. I'm going to call out something. This is personal transformation, authenticity, and transparency right here. We have a tendency to run away from pain and into pleasure. Tony Robbins talks about this, right? And so perfect example. I was in Florida having fun, and I was running, taking care of myself, and I fell. And you see, I have a chip on my teeth. I'm in the middle of getting a root canal, all this stuff. And even though I'm in the work, I got up, I had a bloody mouth, washed it off, and I'm like, oh my God, I could have busted my nose, broken stuff. So immediately I went into gratitude. And immediately I went into above the line, innovation and encouragement and engagement and courage, right? That's where I went because I didn't want to feel bad about the very real feelings of what if my teeth never looks like they look again? Like my beautiful, perfect teeth. Like, what if, like, right? So I immediately went into gratitude because in the personal development space, feel good. Yeah, be happy. And when I got back, I got home last night after my medication was wearing off and I started eating and I hurt my tooth and I like bawled for like 30 minutes. I was like a baby. I think you texted me, Maj. I was like having a ball. And I was like, why am I crying for 30 minutes straight? My teeth isn't hurting that bad. And then I recognized, oh, I didn't actually go through the process of being with the feeling, right? Of fear, of disappointment. And so this is what we teach Maji and I in transformation. It's making it okay. If you're in a horrible work environment, I'm not going to expect you to come and not shed tears because your boss has torn down your self-esteem. We're going to say, listen, it's okay for you to feel frustrated. It's okay for you to feel fear. And as we work through that, it moves through you. So now I can step into courage. Now I can step into innovation and engagement and problem solving and synchronicity where everything is perfect. But I can't go here without first acknowledging the lower level.
Yeah, really, 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 really good. So the question that got us here was, what is being all in? And what I hear you doing is saying, you can understand those levels, but you cannot ignore the pain that you have to go through in the coach's training, the one we've been to, which is the best one. They take you through the third module, I think is called process. Mm-hmm. And it really teaches you that you cannot spiritually leapfrog pain. If you're somebody who continually winds up in a job where you don't feel appreciated, or you're continually frustrated, or you're continually being written up for a bad attitude, or
the trauma of microaggression.
Right. The trauma you're never finding happiness. You must examine this and what's going on up and down that ladder of consciousness,